I'd like to go ahead and call to order the Nevada Commission for the Reconstruction of the V&T Railway. It's Wednesday, June 26, 2024. It's 9:03 a.m., and we are here in the Carson City Community Center Robert Bob Kroll Boardroom. Tomorrow, could I get a call to order, please? A roll call, please.
Chair Peterson,
Present.
Vice Chair Mitchell,
I'm here.
Treasurer Cruz,
Here.
Secretary Hicks,
Here.
Commissioner Schmitter.
Here.
No quorum's present.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and move on to agenda item 3. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. All right, with that, we'll move on to agenda item 4, public comment. Anybody want to come up and do a public comment at this time is welcome to do so. Okay, no takers. All right. Let's move on to agenda item 5 for possible action, approval of minutes of the May 22nd, 2024 meeting. Anybody have any changes or edits or adds on the minutes in your packet? Anybody want to make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of May 22, 2024.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Michelle. We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Motion carries unanimously. All right, let's move on to agenda item number 6 for possible action. Discussion and possible action regarding the V&T Commission Statement of Accounts payable checks paid May 1st through the 31st, 2024. So on the invoice listing, we have checks totaling $78,050.42. This was late material. It's in the back of the room. It was posted to the website yesterday, just for the record. Any questions on this agenda item? Hearing none. Anybody want to make a motion on the checks payable?
Yes, I move to approve the payable checks that were paid May 1st through 31st, 2024.
Thank you, Leah. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this one? All right, hearing none. All those, oh, yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I just note for the record, there were a couple of bank drafts that were also recorded in this report.
Yes, the 16.
Yeah, bringing the total amount of disbursements to $79,668.47.
Sherry,
I didn't have the final check register when I posted the agenda, so I went by all my,
okay. So we should be
Payables.
approving the 79,668.47, Clay, correct?
yes.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to just restate your motion? No, you don't.
No.
Oh, well, never mind.
But
then.
I will.
Okay, well, that's so nice of you.
I move to approve the payable checks totaling $79,668.47 that were paid May 1st through 31st, 2024.
Perfect, thank
And
you.
I will still second that motion.
That's a team player for you right there. Thank you, Clay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the checks payable? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. All right, let's move on to agenda item 7 for possible action, discussion and possible action regarding the adjusted V&T Commission's fiscal year 23-24 budget reports for the period ended May 31st, 2024. On the comparative statement, we've got adjusted revenues totaling $1,469,475.57 and expenses totaling $1,362,614.41 for May. Any questions on this item? I just wanted, oh, go ahead, Clay.
My only question is just, it looks like we're on track for a pretty good year overall. Is there anything that we know about in this last month of the year that may be kind of out of order or something strange or weird that may hit us at the last minute that could throw that off?
Excellent question. Sherry, will you address, I think we just received several months of invoices from Gabe. I think we just did those this week,
We'll
actually.
have one more.
And we'll have one more.
We have some invoices from Tom,
Yep,
of course, but those are all have been accounted for with Jennifer.
Yep.
I think I got everything that would be really
yeah.
large.
And the one thing that you don't see, just because of the timing again, is the 250 from Story County. So technically, next month, we will see that on the June report. So just, obviously, we're going to have additional revenue plus any ticket sales that come in through this Sunday as well. That will go back into fiscal '24. But that's the only thing that I can think of as well. So I was going to echo your comments. I feel like we're doing actually pretty well this fiscal year, all things considered. So did you want to add anything, Jerry?
No,
Okay.
we're moving along nicely.
Okay. Any other questions on our budget statement?
No serious questions.
Oh. Well, you can even throw an unserious question out if you'd like.
Oh, I was just going to ask if we're in a position to give maybe a 20% bonus on all of our salaries as being commissioners this year.
It's funny you should mention that, but I was going to save that till the July meeting.
Oh, okay.
Just to make sure the money actually clears. And
It's okay. 20% of zero is still zero. So we should be able to give ourselves as big a bonus as we want.
Shoot. Now that you say that. Dang it. I was hoping it was going to be more than that, but in my mind, it seemed like a big number. I was shooting for 25%. Okay. Anybody want to do a motion on agenda item 7?
Yes, I move to approve the budget reports as presented.
Thank you, Leah, for that motion. Do I have a second?
Okay, I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Motion carries unanimously. All right, with my peers' consent, I would like to just switch up 8 and 9 real quick because we do have Jennifer on the line right now. So I'd like to go out of order and we're going to skip 8. We'll come back to it. I'd like to go right to number 9. Discussion and possible action regarding a proposed resolution to augment and amend the V&T Commission fiscal year 23-24 budget in the amount of $81,800 pursuant to NRS 354.5980005. Jennifer, is it okay if I just turn this over to you to talk us through this?
Sure, no
Okay.
problem.
Thank you very much.
Jennifer McCain. I'm Jennifer McCain, Story County Comptroller for the record. And the amount is actually $81,100. On top of your last conversation, I would like to say that yes, it looks like this year is turning out very nicely. That's a low amount for augments, and the fact that we can do it with unanticipated revenue is really nice. Royalties, you had a need for 7,287 additional budget, which is directly related to your ticket sales. So again, that is a good augment to have to make. You underestimated the expense and the ticket sales, so that's a benefit. The capital outlay transfer is $73,756. This is something that we knew very early on in the fiscal year due to the paving of the parking lot. Some additional work was approved. And so at the same notion, we just simply took that out of your unanticipated ticket sales. I'd like to note that we could have taken it out of a few other of your objects within your budget. For example, professional services had a little bit of extra after we tallied the possible invoices still coming in. Train related services had a little extra money. Your supplies and services had a little extra. However, after going over this with Sherry, we decided to use the unanticipated revenue to leave room if anything was missed and came in the next couple of weeks. So the resolution is for you to approve, for me to make these transfers and make your budget whole. And in here, you have just a couple different spreadsheets that show what this looks like to your budget. The increase in the revenue and the increase in the expenses ultimately show no changes in your net position, which is also a bonus. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Jennifer, for walking us through that. Any questions for Jennifer? And sorry for giving the wrong number. I should have brought my glasses this morning. I don't, the ones look like, or the eights look like ones. I don't know what's going on with my eyes, so sorry about that. So basically, we just have a resolution that we're approving then, as Jen said, to move the monies around accordingly, and we'll have that document. Tomorrow's going to print that, and we'll just sign that at the end of the meeting for all of us that are here. So if there are no questions, happy to entertain a motion on this item. And thank you, Jennifer and Jerry, for working through this. Really appreciate it.
This is Clay. I can make that motion.
Thank you.
I move to approve resolution number 24-R-01.
I thank you for that motion, Clay. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, who
Yes.
seconded?
Leah said, yeah, Clay and then Leah, yeah. All right. Thank you again. It's awesome. All right, I'd like to come back to number 8 because I see my friend Mr. Andy Walden on the phone. So let's go ahead and take up agenda item 8 for possible action. Discussion and possible action regarding website design and maintenance services effective July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2028, utilizing the State of Nevada Joinder Contract 99 SWC-NV23- hope it's 17886 with KPS3 for a total amount. Oh, thank you. Sunglasses, thank you. I put my sunglasses on and probably see better. For a total amount not to exceed $56,750. So how this is on the agenda today, we did receive a grant through the Commission on Tourism. I made mention of that. We used the MSA, the Master Services Agreement, that's available to state agencies. Mihaela determined that that would also, by default, extend to us as a state commission as well. And Mr. Walden is on the phone from KPS3. He can address any specific questions. But basically, that allowed us to get into a contract with KPS3 without having to do an RFP, since that process has basically been already done by the state. So what you have in front of you is a contract to redo our website, and then it also includes out years of maintenance as well. And I just want to point out too, given what happened, there was a little bit of a misunderstanding on our grant request, and it was thought that we had maintenance that was included in our grant request, which we didn't. Technically, it was additional value-add services, but it was misinterpreted, I guess, by the panel. So they pulled that amount from our grant request in terms of what was approved. Andy and the KPS3 people have been kind enough to not include that, the maintenance charges for basically next fiscal year as a result, just to help us out with the way that we constructed our budget. So I wanted to point that out as well, just to be fully transparent. And then, Mihaela, do I need to get into the whole situation about the expiration of the statewide contract and explain that, or not? For transparency, okay.
Yes.
So and if I say something wrong, Mihaela, please jump in. So the statewide contract, it technically has an expiration date of June 30, 2027, but then there's an option to renew for 2 additional fiscal years. So assuming that happens, then that covers us all the way through what was proposed in this particular contract that's in front of us today, if that makes sense. Do I need to?
That is correct.
Yeah,
And
okay.
if that is not renewed, then we would have to, terminate the contract at that point.
Exactly.
And I think that would only affect a small portion of the amount, right? The one
Just
for maintenance?
$6,000 for fiscal '28, yes. Yeah. So thanks.
Yeah, but that would not have to come back to the board. That will just,
Right.
finish because that's how long the
Yep.
solicitation process is valid for the next 3
Mm.
years, unless renewed by the state,
Yeah.
because it's a statewide contract.
Andy, do you want to add anything on your end?
No, I think I'm really excited to be working with the V&T Commission. My family has wonderful memories from doing the Polar Express and even doing Thomas the Train many years ago. So we're really excited to be able to work together on this, and we're looking forward to getting things moving.
I appreciate that, Andy. And in talking with Andy, the plan of attack is to hopefully get the new website up and running by the end of the calendar year, but we're going to work around Polar Express so as to not create a situation where we shut the ticketing down inadvertently, in the middle of BEX. So I think this is a better approach versus trying to jam something together and then we run into an issue and we can't get BEX tickets off the ground. So the plan would be, obviously Polar would be done, all the tickets would be sold, and then we would be able to come online. So the goal is we would be up and running, Andy, basically by the end of December. So timing-wise, if we still have our retreat end of January-ish, right, then we set tickets, boom, we'll be able to get everything up and running and programmed into the new website and ticketing and all that stuff and be ready to go for the 2025 season is the plan. But a little bit of a change. I got aggressive, I think, the last month, thinking somehow we could pull this off in like a month and a half, and it's just not realistic, unfortunately. So anyway, that's a quick overview of what we've got going on here. So please, if there are any questions, happy to help, or anything for Andy, shoot away. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Andy, for being on. Appreciate that. Anybody want to make a motion then
Absolutely.
on this item?
I can do that.
Okay.
I move to approve the jointer contract as proposed.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that. Motion, do I have a second?
This is Clay, I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Andy, for being on, and it's going to be great, exciting. Happy to get going on this. So thank you very much.
Likewise.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, take care, sir. All right. With that, let us move on to agenda item 10 for possible action, discussion and possible action regarding a proposed amendment to contract for services of independent contractor FY24-C007 with Almada Marketing, LLC, also known as Lumont Media, extending the contract for 3 additional years effective July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027, under the same terms and conditions for an amount not to exceed $13,500 per year or $54,000 for the 3-year renewal period, and a total amended contract of an amount not to exceed $67,500. I need to make mention on this particular item, we do have revised late material at the back of the room. It's also on the website. So this is Regina, who has been handling this work for us. She's changed the name of her company, basically, from Almada Marketing to Lumont Media. So there was a small change that Mihaela was kind enough to note, and that is why there's the revised material. And I should mention, as we get into all these different contract amendments, some are 1 year, some are 3 years, but it's been in conversation with the individual vendors and the owners of those companies, that they felt comfortable with a year or the 3 years. And so trying to respect their ask as far as what we have in front of us today. And Regina, in this case, was comfortable to go out to the full extent of what we could do with her contract. And I don't see her online, so if there are any questions, I'll try to answer those. And if not, if anybody wants to make a motion on this one, that would be totally fine as well.
I move to approve the amendment of the contract as proposed.
Thank you, Stephanie,
I
for that.
second the
Oh,
motion.
jeez. Ugh, ugh. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. All right, we will move on to agenda item 11 for possible action. Discussion and possible action regarding proposed amendment to contract for services of independent contractor FY24-C002 with Dietz Media and Marketing LLC, extending the contract for 3 additional years, effective July 1st, 2024 to June 30, 2027, under the same terms and conditions for an amount not to exceed $7,500 per year or $22,500 for the 3-year renewal period, and a total amended amount of contract not to exceed $37,500. Melissa is actually in the room, which, hi, Melissa, great to see you. So she, too, has kept same commission structure, same rate in place. On this particular one, with the 15% commission rate, we base this amendment on the same media buy per fiscal year. So we add the plus or minus the 50K current, and then that's how we built our budget as well. So I do realize that this means, 2 years from now, we're rolling in the dough, so to speak. If we want to increase our actual media buy, it may require an amendment, perhaps down the road on the not to exceed end of things, but we just assume the same thing for the time being, not knowing, how things might be a couple of years from now. So Melissa's here. If anybody has any questions for Melissa on this one, I think she's done a great job with our buys. The plan will be at the July meeting, recapping this past fiscal year. So Regina's going to do a presentation, Melissa's going to do a presentation at the July meeting, but I felt it would make sense to let June come to fruition, right? Otherwise, we'd only had 11 months, to do that today. So I think you'll see the efforts are really actually pretty good. I'm very pleased with the two of you working together so nicely as well. So any questions on this one? Anything for Melissa in particular? Oh gosh, Melissa, you drove 4 hours to get here from Reno. I mean, take the bypass to get there quicker on your way back. So, all right. Oh, this is huge. Yeah, we've provided with an opportunity to be around people. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, we should take 10% off the contract value then. I mean, wow. I mean, if we're doing that much to help you, this is great. All right. Thanks, Melissa. Anybody want to make a motion on agenda item 11?
This is Clay. I can make that motion.
Okay.
I move to approve the amendment of the contract as proposed.
All right. Thank you, Clay, for that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Woo, it's a Story County for motion and second. Thank you both. Any further discussion on this one? Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to jump in, I guess, at this point to say, I know we're moving through these rather quickly, but thank you to David and Mahela and to Sherry for doing these, because although we're going through them quickly, I'm sure it took you guys a lot of time to put them together. So thank you.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, we didn't just willy-nilly them. I want to
You make the
assure
big
you,
bucks.
that's why I've got that 20% bonus structure
20%.
coming.
Everybody.
Yeah, we're just doling it out today. That's coming in July. It's going to be a big meeting. All right. Thank you. All right. So if there's no further discussion, we had a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Motion carries unanimously. All right. With that, we move on to, thanks, Melissa, for being here and being around other people. So that's the least we can, human beings, I guess, that we can do for you. So, all right. Agenda item 12 for possible action. Discussion and possible action regarding a proposed amendment to contract for services of independent contractor FY24-C003 with Cheryl Bailey, extending the contract for 1 additional year effective July 1st, 2024 to June 30, 2025 under the same terms and conditions for an amount not to exceed $60,000 per year and a total amended amount of the contract not to exceed $110,000. So Sherry has been kind enough to keep the same structure in place, compensation-wise, for next fiscal year. So we're simply extending at Sherry's request for 1 year, just to kind of see how summer, fall goes. So you'll have a full, technically 12 months under your belt to get through the summer on this one. So if there are any questions, Sherry's right in front of you guys if you want to ask. Yeah, there she is waving, pleading for a question.
Ooh, I've got one.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to kind of give you an opportunity if you want to take a moment and just describe how it's going, if you still feel like you're drinking from a fire hose or things feel a little more settled, and just your take or overview on where things are at.
As soon as I feel like I'm comfortable, somebody turns on the fire hose. So I mean, it's a little up and down. Definitely a learning curve, but I'm enjoying it, enjoying working with all of you. So yeah, I have plenty of help.
Well, then Stephanie was going to ask you if you enjoy working with one of the 5 of us more than the other 4, but she's not going to ask that question because it's a public meeting. Yeah. We don't. Yeah, no hurt feeling.
That sounds like a closed session item.
That's funny. That's great. You've been great, and I do realize. Yeah, it seems like something comes up at least once a week or every other week. There's some odd thing pops out. So appreciate your flexibility and just adapting to an ever-changing environment.
I love
So
it.
appreciate it. All right. Anybody want to make a motion on agenda item 12? Oh.
I move to approve the amendment of the contract as proposed.
Yeah, we see how. All right, Stephanie, thank you for that kiss butt motion. Do we have a second by anybody else? Oh, look at that. Carson City on this one. All right, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Motion carries unanimously. You're on for another year, Sherry. So, yep. Thank you very much. All right. That moves us to agenda item 13 for possible action, discussion and possible action regarding a proposed contract number FY23-C001 with Virginia and Truckee Railroad for operations management at the Carson City Eastgate Depot for an amount not to exceed $95,000 for fiscal year 25. So Tom's here, Candy's here, and I want to thank both of them as well for being open to continuing the work that they have been doing at the depot, the repairs, the maintenance, the staffing for our trains. And so this is for one additional, this is a new contract, excuse me. Mahela, don't panic. We had to do this as a new contract. So not trying to piece together a third amendment off the other one. My apologies. This is a brand new contract. And we're having to work within the NRS here on this. And I talked to Tom about it and explained kind of, where we're at with some changes in NRS 332. So this is a new contract for 1 year. Just to clarify, and sorry for not saying that right off the get-go. And so if there are any questions on this one, but again, I want to thank Tom, I want to thank Candy. You guys have been just awesome for being willing to continue this work. So I really appreciate it very much. And I think it's been going swimmingly well. So the work you guys have been doing up there and the repairs, doesn't take us 5 months, right? Back and forth. Tom's just able, and his team are able to handle what needs to be handled at the depot, which I think has been fantastic. So, all right. If there are no questions, if anybody wants to do a motion on this one, that would be lovely. Oh, wait, who?
I'll go ahead and make a motion on that.
Thank you, Glenn.
With my thanks for the work that has been done, I move to award the contract to VTR&R.
Thank you, Clay, for that motion. Do I have a second?
I will second. We certainly couldn't do it without you, so thank you again.
Awesome. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Motion carries unanimously. Tom, Candy, thank you very much on this one. Really, really appreciate it. So I think this has just been fantastic, the relationship. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, we will move on to agenda item 14 for possible action, discussion and possible action regarding proposed amendment number 2 to agreement for legal services with Carson City District Attorney's Office, extending the agreement for an additional 1-year term under the same terms and conditions for an amount not to exceed $20,000 per year. So here I want to thank Michaela, Dan, and Jason for being willing to continue the legal services through Carson City DA's office. No increase in cost, so we're just maintaining the same $20,000 arrangement that we have had. This one, Michaela can answer any questions about it if you have any.
I also want to thank everyone. And I know that I work mostly with David, but all of you are so passionate and available to take my calls or emails. And I think actually we've had a pretty fun year looking back. It didn't always seem like that, but we always remember the good times, right? So
Totally
hence
agree.
we're going forward for another year.
I've just been trying to drive down the aggregate average billable hourly rate as much as I can. So I spend a lot of time on the phone with Michaela to do that. Thank
Well,
you.
usually
Leah.
if we talk after 5 o'clock, we don't bill for those. So we try to, go
That's
on.
why
He
you don't
calls
want
at
me calling you after
4:55.
5. This is interesting. I've learned. I'll be calling at 4:55 then, so we can be on the billables. Yeah, no, Michaela's awesome, you guys. So I seem to learn, honestly, something new every time I get on the phone with her. So it's been great, and I appreciate her for keeping us moving legally down the road and staying above board with everything. So many thanks. And please do thank
You're
Dan and Jason as well. Are there any other questions on item 14? And if not, anybody want to do a motion on this one?
I move to approve the amendment of the agreement as proposed.
Thank you for that motion, Leah. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. All right, now we're going to move on to agenda item 15 for possible, and thank you, Michaela, again, for possible action, discussion, presentation, and possible action regarding a report and visual inspection of the V&T Railways and V&T Railway Bridge, G-2898, conducted by Wood Rogers. Jim, do you want to come up and just kind of talk us through this one? That would be, yeah, I don't want to steal your thunder. You're the reason everybody's here. We have a full commission meeting today. So I know that it took some a little extra time to get through the 117-page report, but they did finish it last night, they assured me. So yes, thank you, Jim, for being here. Thank you for doing these inspections and keeping us kosher with FRA and everything as well. So
Yeah, Jim Cook, Wood Rogers. So, yeah, it took us a while to get through. We had some events, and I missed the last train of the year. So,
oh, that's right.
sometimes some of the inspections require to watch the train. So, I had to wait till the first train came back down the hill. So just hopefully you've all seen the report. We have a cover letter that just kind of tried to summarize the findings. We really didn't have a whole lot of immediate issues. Most of the issues that we saw are pretty standard annual maintenance type items. The ones that we did, there was some major rock debris in near stations 972 through 976. That's I didn't put some people like to use mileposts, but the plans that we work off had stationing. So that's just some general maintenance where there was a more than normal rock debris in some of the ditches. So we identified that area, and then station 957, there was some ballast that could be adjusted. And so we wanted to kind of point that out as well, since that was probably needs to happen this year. And then Station 957, there were some culverts that were completely clogged up. So before next, fall, we should probably make sure that the culverts that we identified that were completely clogged, those definitely need addressed. And as well, some other culverts that weren't quite that bad. But again, that's why I said it was kind of like annual maintenance items. And then there was another rock debris near Station 880, and some of the large boulders there. Obviously, we're running trains now, so they're not impinging on any of the operations, but they need to be addressed this year as well. And then there was near Station 739, which is just going out of American Flat, going towards Hayward's. There's a slope fail. Actually, that's not up near Hayward's. It's milepost 10. That's lower down the hill. Still in American Flat area. There's a slope failure that is not impinging on the track, but that should be monitored for any kind of additional movement. Right now, it needs to be cleaned up so that there aren't any. I think, how do we word that? The slope should be cleaned away from the ballast rock and monitored for additional movement. So that can be done by the maintenance personnel, and because they're actually Dennis was one that actually told us about that. So we made sure we looked at that, and it was a pretty good slope failure, although it's not impinging on the track. So monitoring that would be important, just to make sure that there isn't any movement. That would probably most likely occur in the winter months when we get more moisture. We don't get a lot of moisture around here, so those type of items typically don't move very fast. So again, that would be monitoring, should be done on that. And then, of course, the rest of the report is pretty much, we didn't see any like immediate items. It's mainly just annual maintenance. We didn't see anything that, other than that slope failure, that hasn't been noted in previous years. So, and I also included the copy of the NDOT bridge inspection, where they had, I don't believe they had any big items. Again, maintenance. There's some surface rust that, should probably get handled as far as painting. And, that bridge, everybody who drives by it knows that the paint chips off. And I think it was 2 years ago, there was some painting maintenance, I think, on the interior part of the bridge. But other than that, there was we didn't have anything really spectacular to report to you for this annual inspection. And again, the NDOT bridge inspection is every other year. So next year, the bridge inspection should probably be a little bit more thorough. Typically, when NDOT does their annual or their semi-annual bridge inspection, we pretty much rely on what they see, because they do a pretty thorough inspection. So with that,
Jim, can I ask you just a question on the last one you mentioned about the slope failure? What work needs to be done there specifically? Do we have to add more ballast, or does something have to be done?
no, that needs to be the soil that has slid down off the slope it's more like a ditch cleaning.
Oh, okay.
It might be a little bit more involved. It's a fairly wide area, which is why it's not really affecting the track. And I don't know if Tom, are you familiar with that area? Yeah. So it's definitely noticeable on the slope, so it should be monitored. But as far as like what to do with it now, other than monitoring, just cleaning up the dirt debris that has come down off the slope.
Okay, thank you. And then I just wanted to ask one question about the bridge, because, so next year, is it specifically I know it's every other year, but is it for us in our fiscal year? Does the bridge need to be inspected before June 30 next year? Or is it actually
Yeah, I
fiscal
think
26?
the FRA regulations on the bridge, so you're responsible for an annual inspection.
Mhm.
NDOT does every other year,
Okay,
but I believe that, yeah, there's an annual inspection requirement.
okay. Is everything okay with the lighting? Because I feel like you guys, wasn't there some issue about lights but I don't know if all the lights are, usually I'm not driving by there at night, it's during the day if I'm heading up to Virginia City, but I don't know if we've taken care of all of that, or does that come up under the NDOT one, and then do they take care of the lights, or do they just simply report back to us that, hey, you need to, replace these or whatever needs to happen? For some reason, I had that in my back of my head last week. I was thinking about that, but maybe we're okay and everything is functional.
Yeah, the current NDOT report, lighting is a checklist item for them,
Okay.
but their comment was that it was during the daytime, so the lights weren't on.
Oh, well, there you have that.
And I actually did the inspection during the daytime as well, so
Okay.
I
All right.
will maybe
Okay.
next time I'm driving through there.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
night.
just see, yeah. Because we would be responsible then probably to fix those lights or put new bulbs in or whatever? Or is that NDOT's? Just wondering whose responsibility is that?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Oh, it's ours? Oh, okay. Oh, I'm looking at Tom. He says it's ours. Okay, fair enough. Well, when I go out to see my sister, Dayton, I'll make sure I'm coming back late at night so I can take a look. Okay. Yeah, thank you for doing this. And are there other questions? I don't want to hog all the questions, so please go ahead, Stephanie, if you have a question.
I have a comment and a question. So on a couple of the tunnel inspection forms, there's an October 21st, 2022 date. Sometimes it's in the signature, sometimes it's in the inspection date. I think maybe that's just a carryover or.
It's probably a typo by me.
Okay. Then my other comment, I guess, is more for the commission in that, well, or maybe not. So some of these things were identified in January of this year, and we have 4 or 5 invoices from Gabe that are pending. So do we know whether some of this work has already been completed under those particular invoices?
I was going to ask Jim to address the conversation that he had with Gabe, if that's okay. Now,
Yeah.
relative to the invoice, we're going to have to talk to Gabe about that because Jim wouldn't know, but Jim has spoken with Gabe as far as the work that has been done.
Right,
So would you just talk,
I spoke to
Okay.
Dennis.
or Dennis, sorry, yeah.
Yesterday, just to check, because I knew he accompanied us on our inspection, so he was aware. So what he had said was that they've done willow removal, which is some of the culvert inspection items, both at Scales and milepost 15, and then crossings, which were items that we listed, but obviously they're running trains, so they've gone through and they've cleaned all the crossings for the current operations. One thing that they did do that wasn't on our list because it wasn't an issue, that they had to replace some bolts in the track near milepost 9, which he said is they had to do that before. I guess it's just where the track is and things that happen. So those are the items that he has completed. So obviously there's still more that they'll need to do, and he indicated that he was just waiting for some direction to perform that work.
Does that work for you, Stephanie? we'll ask the question specifically of Gabe about the invoices. And then I guess we'll have to try to match up what Jim has noted on here as far as what has been done. And then, because I think you guys at Mahela's request, the reason we have this as a potential action or possible action item is to give direction to staff to ensure that this work does get done. Whatever, I don't want to imply that it was missed, but maybe it sort of was, or other work was done that, like you said, might not have been noted about the bolts. But because we have Jim, and the team have identified things, if we give the direction to Sherry to talk to Gabe to have his staff do this work, I think I guess that's what he was waiting on. So I don't know. To me, this is regular maintenance stuff. I mean, I feel it is, but anyway, now we have a report. It's identified some shortcomings, and this work should get done. And we have it budgeted for, so it's not like, unless I'm wrong, you guys, but I feel like this is within the context of the dollars that we have in the contract for this year as well as next fiscal year. Obviously, not like we're going to jam through this all in 2 days, to get it done before the end of the fiscal year. But I certainly would think that we could get this work done next fiscal year. And I guess Gabe was just waiting on that guidance to do the work, or have his team do the work. Jim, is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, that's just what he indicated in the conversation was,
Okay.
because I asked him if he'd done anything else, and he said they've only basically performed what they needed to do to make sure that operating could occur now. So, and then everything else, he said he was just waiting for somebody to tell him to go.
Okay. Any other questions for Jim? Clay, do you have anything?
No questions, but Jim, I just wanted to thank you by mentioning that we get very little moisture. You've ensured a heavy thunderstorm season this summer, I'm sure. That's how it goes usually, right?
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Appreciate the report. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? So then I think what we're looking for then, Mahela, is a motion to direct staff to get, well, I don't want to tell you, but obviously I think we should get this work done. And so I think that's what this item would be about from my particular perspective.
Great, Mr. Chair, I can make a motion.
Okay, awesome.
This is Clay. I move to accept this report and to direct staff to instruct Gabe to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Clay.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to go. Any further discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. Jim, many thanks to you. I appreciate it. So thank you. All right, so Sherry, then you will get with Gabe, and we'll get him started, or not him, but the team, to get everything handled in here. And I did share a copy of the report to Jim with Gabe, so he actually has it already. So he should be able to reference everything that was noted in here. Okay, awesome. Thank you again. All right, with that, we'll move on to agenda item 16. These are our monthly non-action items for discussion only. 16A is the executive assistant update. Sherry, do you have anything you want to impart upon the commission this month?
I guess just a couple of updates. I left my notes at home, I'm sorry. So I'm off the top of my head. Father's Day, we had a little bit of a little Bloody Mary bar and cookies for all the dads on the trains. People seem to be very happy with that. It was very light and simple, but they like the extra. We will be having the new tickets with the saying sometime mid-July. Those will be printed. I'm working on the card racks. I'll be reaching out to Kelly to get that a design hopefully quickly here. And it was decided, just ran out of time to do the souvenir newspapers. So I'm going to make sure that I have plenty of time to get it going for next season. So I apologize for that. I kind of dropped the ball, but how it worked out. Just started the very beginnings of our first wine trains in, I think, 5 years. So I'm using some of my resources to get some wine together and do a little bit of catering. So I'll have more details on that next month, but that's just the beginnings of the talks. We're looking for one in August and probably September. That's about all I think.
That's great. Yeah, so that'll cover a couple of the special trains that we discussed at the retreat. On the ticket front, Chris on my team, we're trying to get everything printed this week, because once we start our move at the end of the week, then good Lord willing, we'll only be without a printer for 2 weeks, but it could be longer because we have whole wiring, 200 and something volt stuff having to happen. So she's trying to get as many tickets as we can run a sheet. So she bought paper, so she's just gonna start churning the machine. So yeah, any questions? And I'm excited. That was great on Father's Day. I appreciate that we changed it up a little bit. I think that was delightful, a little something different. So thank you for that, and thanks you guys, Tom and Candy again there, and for helping. And I'm excited about the trains into the canyon as well.
Yeah.
The only question I have about the going into the canyon, do we know, did Gabe go down? Not Gabe, sorry, but the staff, the team, did they go down and do the inspection, or are they planning?
They haven't yet. I actually
Okay.
didn't want to pay for it till July, so I asked
Oh,
him to
okay.
wait till next
okay.
week.
No, fair enough. Okay, no, that's great. Okay, as long as we just, get in
Yeah,
there.
it
Okay.
is scheduled. I have requested for him to do
Okay.
that, yeah.
Tom, are you aware of anything that we should be thinking about or give any direction to Dennis and those guys going down in the canyon as far as what they need to be? Tom, will you come up? Sorry, so it's, thank you. That way we can just pass all this along to Dennis, right, of what he should know, but friendly reminder doesn't hurt.
I don't think he has the resources to do it, but, we can help him kind of manage it. I was just at the North Pole the other day, and there's quite a bit of rail surfacing that
Okay.
needs to be done. It's pretty critical. And there's some other areas. I'd recommend getting the track welder that we used out there for next spring, when there's no fire danger.
Okay.
That would pay big rewards, and it's not that expensive. The culverts, there's a lot of digging to do out there, a whole bunch. You could do it for weeks.
Oh, okay.
The bolts keep breaking. We just found we find a bolt every week, so we report it to Dennis, like milepost 15, 4, we put it in the middle of the track so they can find it easily. Some of the signs are getting pretty bad. They're not visible at night. The ties are still relatively good shape. Donovan needs to be welded up pretty good, the frogs up there. There's quite a bit. Chris is the other track inspector. He used to work with the guys quite a bit, so he's been coming on the weekends sometime doing a heat inspection, and we've talked about quite a bit of stuff that kind of hasn't been done for a while that would be nice to get done. I think the money's there, and just need to plan it out right. I don't know. I don't think Dennis can do it by himself. He needs some help, and I know Gabe can't be involved. So I think, but there's ways to get the job done.
Okay, and Tom, if you're willing to help, at least maybe prioritize some things, that would be super, because I realize obviously we need to get into the canyon if we're going to be doing the wine trains as well. So, but that would be great if you have some thoughts on prioritization, what we can. I realize, Dennis is one guy. I don't know. Chris, I'm unfamiliar with Chris, but his name came up in conversation or in a voicemail last week from Gabe. So that's great if he's helping.
Our biggest concern was all the creepers were off on the Overman pit. They're off to the side, and that keeps the ties, from moving and twisting, and keeps the whole thing in alignment. And they're off now with the heat. The track's able to move a lot more, and that kind of really restrains it. But it has to be done at a really a normalized temperature. And now it's getting a little too hot.
Okay.
All that work up there hadn't been finished from before. That needs to get done.
Okay. Is that something, Clay, thinking about the sales tax piece, anything up in Overman, is that something where we could look at possibly coming in front of Story County to help with since it's in Story, is that an opportunity we have, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not qualified to make an opinion on that, but my reading of the statute is that that's the case. Unfortunately, there's a kind of a rough process outlined in how to do that, and that involves the annual budget and then a request for what projects are going to be undertaken that year. And so that it seems like that window's kind of closed at this point for some of those type of things, and we'd have to wait till next fiscal. I mean, it doesn't say that that's the only time to do it, but that's kind of what's outlined.
Maybe we just figure out what we can do with the budget that we have during this next fiscal year, and then if there's a larger piece, Tom, maybe that's where we properly work this through our fiscal 26 respective budget processes then maybe.
Yeah, and I'm fully supportive of, prioritizing whatever we can get done within the constraints that we have.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay. Thank you for adding that, Tom. I appreciate it. Are there any other questions on Sherry's update? Okay, if not, you're here, Tom. Let's just move into 16B, Operations and Trains Report, if you don't mind.
It's kind of, there's like a rhythm to the commission trains, the Carson City trains now, because we're running really consistently. So I think Candy can settle in groups that show up, and it's kind of has a momentum, rather than kind of a start-stop. So it's pretty good. Kind of getting worried about the fire danger out there. This is the driest I've seen it for quite a while. Little thunder poppers last night, but the 18 locomotives running pretty good. We haven't had to do any major repairs to it. Just we do our constant maintenance to it and small repairs. But the ridership seems to be pretty good. Most weekends, and people seem to be happy with the train ride. I think most people are asleep on the way back down the hill, which is a good thing. They've had a good time at Virginia City, and it's high altitude up there, so we have to take those precautions. The diesel trains aren't as popular, but we put them on the unpopular weekends any rate to save money. So I think that's a wash. At least something's going back and forth for people. They like it. They can accommodate their guests when they come into town. What else? We're rebuilding a new steam engine for us, a 1926 Baldwin, which is a modern locomotive. It's really good, so I think it'll be a good backup engine for both the local run and the Carson City run coming up, which is be pretty important. We did get. I want to ask you about the engine 18. So we a film crew came out and they want to use the train set. Between the end of the season, the normal season, and Polar Express. So that's I offered the 18 to them, and I can use the 30 as a backup, but it's not ready to go yet. And then the 3 coaches that we have, the 1920 coaches, the same train set that we use for Killers of the Flower Moon, they want to use. So I offered it to them. They came out, the scouts came out and looked at everything, and they're happy with it. So they want to go with this. The biggest problem is getting everything back in time for Polar Express. So I'll have the 3 big Polar cars here, and the Carson City Polar Express coach will be on the way here just in time to make the Polar. So I have to, make sure that we get that back in time. And I think we will. So I want to ask the commission if it would be okay to, for this film production company, they want to transport it to Montana to do some filming up there. It's a 3-day shoot in November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So we'll get everything ready, the crews, and then we it'll already be at the Eastgate Depot on the last trip of the season. So I think that's going to be a perfect timing to, drain the boilers, prepare it for hauling, and then we'll have the 3 coaches. We'll just have to disassemble down there and then move everything out. I guess October 21, 22, 23 that week. And then we'll put it back together in Montana, and then they'll do their filming. It's on the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad tracks, and the whole scene is only like for 400 feet at a pretty slow speed, just the train coming into the station. I think they're going to have a big gunfight on the train or something, but I don't want to say the name of the production, but it's a pretty popular one, so it'll be good PR for everybody, you know, and it's, you know, it's part of the whole idea of bringing films to Nevada, this area of Nevada, because we got the stuff here. We really do, and they're filming another episode at the Red Ranch in Lamoille Canyon right now, so I think we're kind of getting them over this way, you know. The state doesn't have a big tax incentive budget like some of these other states, but Story County gets an extra 5%, the rural counties get an extra 5% to offer these film crews. So, and the film office was up last week checking some stuff out, and they'll be back again. So, anyway, so they were willing to pay $40,250 for that 3-day shoot, and then there's no other expenses to you. They'll share it for about $1 million, and then the main thing for me is the Carson City coach coming back in time for Polar Express, and then getting the rest of the train ready for the Train of Lights and all that too. But I have a couple more weeks on that, so I just want to present that to the commission, see if that's a possibility, and you know, what you think about it. Any questions, really?
So I love it. I think this is just great, and the timing is good because we just officially launched visitcarsoncity.com/filmcc yesterday in partnership with Carson City, Hope, and Cecilia and the team for film permitting now in Carson City. So I'm aware of some projects in the pipeline where they actually, I think, want to film here with the trains, right? And I know this is taking it and, you know, bringing it up to Montana, but I think any exposure we can get is great, and then hopefully it turns into they want to shoot right here, so we have these folks in town, we've got rooms filled, they're spending money on catering and food and beverage and all that good stuff. So the timing of this, I asked Tom, and Mihaela was okay with this, just bring this up. The timing, this just happened, right? But it was after we had already put the agenda live last week, right, for posting requirements. So the plan would be to bring back an agenda item if the commission wishes at the July meeting to work out, you know, all the details to give the permission, you know, as the full commission to use the 18. But I just appreciate Tom, you know, continuing to push on this and give us some exposure, and I think it's wonderful. So we can't take an action today, but we can at the July meeting. We'll properly agendize everything, but it's okay to have some discussion. Mihaela, just, or if there's a question of Tom, or do you want to save it?
I think it's by way of an update
Okay.
as to what is happening, you know, in regards to train operations. So it is a little bit of a stretch to continue the discussion, but you know, now you've been updated, and if you'd like to have questions for Mr. Gray individually, you can also do that.
Okay.
And I guess staff can work with him in the preparation of the contract, and I'll be happy to review it before the meeting.
Is that fair, Tom? Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
we'll definitely let's bring this back at the July meeting. We'll get it agendized, and then we can have a good formal conversation.
And Mr. Chairman, I will note there are no horrified looks on the faces of any of the commissioners at this point.
Yeah, no,
which,
I know, yeah.
Which is not a discussion, it's just an observation.
Yeah.
So, you know,
All good.
a question for me. So I don't know how to structure the contract. Generally, I just sign a contract with the production company,
Right.
and then I just would need your permission, and, I mean, you could see the whole contract, I guess, or at least the portion for the 18, you know, how we do that with the
Yeah, and
insurance
I'll be happy to
values.
talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, if you'd like to email me a copy, and we
Okay.
can discuss what can be presented.
Okay.
Perfect. That's awesome. I feel like it should be required that any one of us are starring in these productions too. I know that I would have to get my
Hey,
SAG card reinstated.
Don't
No?
kill the deal.
Oh, shoot. I said any one of us.
Oh,
I didn't say
okay.
Leah. I mean, I didn't want to single her out, right? You know. Okay. Yes, you do. But you have to turn and look that way. You know. Yeah, anyway. All right.
That's a bridge too far.
Candy, do you guys want to add anything else? Thank you, Tom. We will address this next month. Thank you. Oh, no, he's giving his place up to you, Candy.
Put me in the hot.
Yeah.
it
Welcome,
on?
Candy. Yeah, you're on, yeah.
Okay, good morning. Candy Duncan, Virginia Truckee Railroad. It's been fun out at Eastgate. I think, as Tom said, it's been a really nice season so far. The diesel trains, I do wish we would have figured out a way to do like a family package or something like that for them, because I think that would really help. But what I'm noticing on those diesel trains is lots of people from out of town. And I think that is because, people don't, they plan their vacation, they didn't plan on the train, they get here, they find out there is a train, and oh, well, they can only do a diesel, but it's okay. They wanted to ride the train, so it's nice that we do have it. And I think if in the future, maybe we could just come up with some kind of a, buy one, get one free, or a family 4 or 5 pack, or locals discount, or ride a diesel train and get half off on a steam train, or just something maybe to kind of boost that ridership up a little bit, because we have to do all the same work, whether we have 30 people or 210 people. So that would be a good idea. This coming weekend, we've already sold half of the tickets, or actually, I think more than half for the weekends. It's a steam, so it's going to be a nice weekend. Really appreciate the shuttle in Virginia City. I know that's making it a lot easier. We do have, I don't want to say an elderly crowd, but we do have an elderly clientele, so.
Sure,
Yeah.
audience, ridership, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very helpful, and a lot of people with disabilities or just little challenges, so it's nice to have that. We have been working already, talking about Polar Express, wanting to get those tickets on sale the first week in September, I think is our goal. We're talking about, Carla suggested to us after going to the Polar Express camp, she had some suggestions for us, and one of them is in the VIP parlor car to add another, make one of the sections in that car, the actual front section of the Ardell May, what we're gonna call, I think we're gonna call it the VIP Family Lounge, and sell all those tickets to one family, because it creates a lot of, I don't know if you've been in the Ardell May, but it's 2 sections, and if you just sell those single seats, sometimes families get separated and they get a little upset about it. So we just think this will be easier, plus maybe make a little bit more money for us by having a VIP ticket. So we decided we would do that. I love the new tickets. I'm very happy to have those and looking forward to the new ones. And I have been making complimentary coffee for the passengers on weekends. And then last weekend, someone stole the donations cup. So I don't know exactly what to think about that. I mean, come on, people, it's not even that good a
It
coffee,
was
but
like,
anyway.
it was only a couple thousand in there.
Yeah, right.
But once again, that's a couple thousand that we don't get, Clay. Wow.
I don't know. There were a bunch of kids
Candy.
on that train. And
Oh, that's
maybe
ridiculous.
Well, yeah, it is.
Do we have it on
ridiculous.
camera? I mean,
No, we
oh.
don't have any cameras in there.
Oh, I thought there was that one. in
I mean,
the
I shouldn't say
corner.
that.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe it is
Oh.
on camera.
Shoot. Wanted to
So-
punish some juvenile delinquents. Yeah.
That's
Oh.
really the only bad thing that's happened
Okay.
so far, so. yeah.
Well, we'll take up a collection from these
Yes,
four.
there you go.
So, yeah, to offset that loss. That's too bad. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Frankly, it's ridiculous.
Silly.
Well, thank you for the update. Yeah,
Sure.
that's great. And we did have a great meeting with Carla. She had some really, really cool ideas coming back from, I want to say it was training, but it's not training. It's the
It's a camp.
Polar Express
Yeah,
camp,
Polar
yeah.
Express
Yeah.
camp. So to liven it up this year and change things up a little bit, so it's not the same old, right? And so I think I appreciate her taking the time to go to that and come back with some really cool ideas.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that we won't decouple the family
Yeah.
members, because that's like seems to be the only complaint we ever get
Really?
is, oh my gosh, who's this guy sitting with
Right.
my 3 kids? Well, think of him as Uncle Charlie or something, for a couple of hours. But anyway, good. Yeah, thank you. Any questions for Candy? All right, good stuff.
Thank you
Go
for
ahead,
the
Clay. I'm
opportunity.
sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Tom mentioning people sleeping on the way back down, maybe a pillow's an upsell or a branded
Ooh, a branded-
merchandise item that they can use and then take with them to fondly remember that
There
portion
you
of the
go.
journey.
Oh, I like it. Some fans, branded fans.
Fans.
That keep cool. Oh
Yeah,
my
little-
gosh, Leah.
little
Yeah.
spray
Oh,
ones.
those spray misters. Oh my gosh, what an opportunity. Visit Carson City, Virginia City Tourism Commission.
There you go.
V&T Railway. Never heard of them. Oh, okay, Leah. Well, All right, we'll get you up to speed, don't worry.
I just want to give credit where credit is due. So we've been working really hard with the shuttle to try to make sure that we have it staffed. We have run into one weekend where we absolutely couldn't, but I just want to, excuse me, state on the record that Todd Tuttle has been really doing an amazing job. He's the director of my boss. He's the director of Virginia City Tourism Commission, and he's the one that he makes sure, no matter what is going on, that he is in. We did lose our driver for a personal matter, not forever, just for a weekend. And he went and covered the visitor center so that our other person who has the CDL could go run the shuttle. So just know that we're really trying to make sure that people can come up and see us on C Street. So it's a little bit, for us, but also for the train
Full
ride.
credit to VCTC. I thank you, Leah, for doing everything, and
Yeah.
Todd for helping a little bit, is what Leah
Todd's
just
just
said.
there. to
Yeah,
be
he's
the
just
body.
there
Yeah,
to be a
he's
body,
doing great,
apparently. No.
just standing there. No, he really
Thank
is passionate about the train
Yeah.
and making sure that the people are able to get where they want to go when they come up and they're not just kind of stuck down there. That's good.
Well, thank you to you, Todd.
Yeah,
And
wherever you are.
yeah, wherever you are right now, preparing a bus or a shuttle or something. No, yeah, thank you, because I think this makes a world of difference, especially when it's slightly toasty out there right now. So
Yeah.
thank you. I really appreciate that. All right, if there are no other questions for Candy, all right, great. We will move on to, thank you, Candy, and thank you, Tom. 16C, upcoming meeting. So our next meeting right here, July 24th at 9 a.m. Be here, be square. Agenda item 17, commissioner comments, announcements, requests for information. Does anybody have anything they would like to mention or bring up at this time? No, wow. The opportunity for them to talk, Mahalan. Silence. It's deafening.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What's that?
Yes, Clay, please.
I just wanted to mention that we had an opportunity to present about the commission to one of the interim committees at the legislature. It was kind of just a preliminary discussion about the history, the operations, and some of the challenges that we face. There was no real outcome to it other than just an informational presentation and presenting some of the challenges and then some policy options for them to consider. And so we'll see where that goes.
Thank you for doing that. Now I can say something. So since you brought it up at the public meeting. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys and the mayor for going over there and Cam, right, as well, I think was there, if I recall. So yeah, appreciate that. Keeping the options open for us moving forward. So thank you. All right. Hearing no other comments, we will open up our second and final public comment. Anybody wants to come up and say anything? This is your opportunity. All right. Oh, Bob, yeah. This is public comment. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on up. Push it. Just identify yourself, Bob.
Bob Thomason, and concerning the Gross Brothers Monument project, I understand the state legal department or someone is working on some prerequisites for what we have to do to get approval to, I was just wondering, is there any update on that? Or,
So I will talk to you after the meeting, if that's
Oh.
okay.
that sounds
And-
serious.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, just since we don't have it as an agenda item to not do
Yeah.
discussion, but let me chat with you after the meeting.
Okay,
if that's okay.
I never
Yeah.
had figured out.
And I'll
how the
give
system
you
works,
give
so,
you the
yeah.
411, as Leah
Yeah,
would
yeah.
say. So yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Any other public comment? All right. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn? You don't all have to jump at it. Well, I know. Yeah. Can't win for losing with this group.
This is
Sherry.
Michelle. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Shoot, I was
We're-
going to ask if
we're
we could
adjourned.
recess for a while and just.
To a closed door. Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.